Boxing truth here. The return is near. The return of Keith one-time Thurman. WBC earlier confirmed the return of Keith Thurman for January 2018. Thurman kept his word to his fans, informed his fans months back that he was going to return early next year or late this year. He kept his word. He's coming back January 2018, coming off surgery to his elbow. Whether people want to believe that or not doesn't really matter. The point is, Thurman is coming back, and he's much needed in the welterweight division. I have an up and down type of thing when it comes to a Keith Thurman. I like Keith Thurman. He's needed in the welterweight division because he has a personality. He has the most potential of all the welterweight champions to be a big star. Unfortunately, being an Al Haymon fighter, he's limited. He's in terms of promotional aspect of the game. Now he's not very well promoted. He kind of acts like Al Haymon. He goes in the shadows, disappears. He's MIA for a number of months, so he doesn't really do a good job of consistently being out there, consistently informing his fans, being active on social media. I get why he does that. He's a private person. He likes to keep to himself. It's all good, but when you're a world champion making $1 million paydays, you gotta be out there a little more. He should be at a level where he's filling out venues, the next American star. He has it. He's got the personality. He has the ability to create an emotion with his audience. It's too bad that he's not a rock star yet. Nowhere near the type of star that he should be. But he doesn't fight enough, not very active enough. All that, being an Al Haymon fighter, it affects where Keith Thurman is at right now. But I'm looking forward to his return. I'm looking forward to him coming back and exposing Errol Spence. He's going to put the Errol Spence fanboys in a world of hurt. And that is a fight that should be talked about. That is a fight that is going to happen eventually, whether it's late this year or early 2019. Of course, the fight is going to be marinated. It's just part of boxing. Big fights are meant to be marinated. And besides, Thurman has some obligations with WBC. He's also not going to fight, I don't think, any killers coming off a long layoff in an elbow surgery. So I'm not sure who the hell he's going to fight for his comeback fight in January. But there are some names. I'm looking at all the rankings of every sanctioning body, of every belt, all the recognized belts at least. And there are a couple of names within the WBC rankings. Porter and Garcia, they're taking interim fights. Porter's going to fight Granados. He wants to stay busy. Why he's not fighting Danny Garcia for the interim title like the WBC ordered, no idea. Danny Garcia is saying Porter ducked him. Porter is saying Garcia was wasting his time. So I don't fucking know why that fight's not happening. So both of those guys are taking interim fights at the end of the year. Garcia is most likely going to fight Brandon Rios. Not a bad fight, understandable fight coming off a loss. They want to keep Danny Garcia in the win column, get him back in the winning column for a possible rematch with Thurman next year. Sean Porter is the mandatory #1. That fight will eventually be mandated by WBC once Thurman returns, gets his comeback fight in January. So I'm looking at the names here. Sam Eggington could be a possibility. He's a matchroom fighter. He's coming off some decent, okay wins, whatever. He knocked out that bum Paulie Malignaggi, knocked out a faded Frankie Gavin. He has to win his fight this upcoming weekend, and perhaps he could be in line for a title shot. Maybe a possible Keith Thurman opponent. I don't know if it's possible. Eddie Hearn's messing with HBO now, but Eddie Hearn's able to do business with everybody, and I'm sure he'd be willing to do business with Haymon on this fight, you know, since he's open to every network. He's not just messing with HBO. He's trying to get fights for all his clients, whatever the network in America is. So Sam Eggington could be a possible opponent. He was mentioned as a possible opponent for Danny Garcia not too long ago. He could be in the mix. Let's see, another guy. Andre Berto actually might be possible. He's rated number 15 right now by WBC. He's coming off a bad loss to Porter, but he's still a name, I guess. I don't know if Thurman's gonna fight a guy coming off a loss. Plus, those guys are kind of close. They train in the same gym, I believe, from the same area or the same state at least. Not sure how possible that fight is. There's Ray Robinson, rated number 13. If Jesse Vargas is a free agent, maybe he could be in the mix for a Keith Thurman fight. Now you look at the WBA rankings. Samuel Vargas is rated, who fought Danny Garcia. Maybe he's possible. It's kind of hard to figure out who Thurman's going to fight right now. I'll have to check back in the rankings a month from now, 2 months from now, as they change. At least a month from now, maybe I can get a better idea. But I expect Thurman in a not very big fight, you know, maybe a rated contender type guy, just to get his feet wet back in the ring. He's been inactive, only fought once this year, only fought once last year. It's been one time for a couple of years now. But I miss Keith Thurman, man. I miss his trash talking, his interviews, his KOs for life model, you know, even though he ain't knocking anybody out lately. But Thurman is much needed in the division. And I'm looking forward to his eventual marination fight with Errol Spence, and who is the best between those two guys. That's the fight that's going to happen. No need to talk about Crawford Spence right now, because that ain't happening anytime soon. Thurman and Spence is the fight to talk about. That's the fight to be made, since they're on the same side. I'm looking forward to that fight. I want to see if Spence is real. He beat Kell Brook, but that fight told me just one thing: that Kell Brook would have whooped Errol Spence's ass had Gennady Golovkin not got to Kell Brook first. That's the only thing that fight told me. But let's see if Spence continues to improve. He's still not a complete fighter just yet. He's currently negotiating Lamont Peterson. Good fight for him, but Peterson, he's been knocked out before. But if he knocks out Peterson at this stage, be a decent win for Spence. So he needs to keep winning, needs to keep having explosive performances. Thurman, he needs a big time performance as well, and he needs to get some more recognition. He needs to get some more recognition that he deserves. He's not being rated pound for pound by anybody. He's not being rated as one of the best fighters out there. Not even the top welterweight. I don't think he's the top welterweight right now. That title belongs to Jeff Horn. But I do have Keith Thurman at number 2 because he's fought more quality guys than Errol Spence. I have Spence at number 3. And those are the top 3 guys right now. But Jeff Horn is number 1. Then it's Keith Thurman. But if Keith Thurman continues to do what he's doing, continues to take the fights that the fans want him to take, he could eventually challenge for that number 1 spot. But eventually, there will have to be a cross-promotional fight between the winner of Thurman and Spence and the winner of Jeff Horn and Terrence Crawford. And then we will truly get an answer on who's the number 1 welterweight in the world. But as for now, Keith Thurman is coming back, and will look to expose Errol Spence later in 2018. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.